Hi, family. So, all right, let's just talk about how tonight's call is going to go. I am really excited. So, we get a lot of coaches in the network because we are, you guys are amazing, and our team is doing incredible things, and we have multiple teams that come together on this. So I have a lot of coaches that reach out to ask to do calls, and in order to protect my family time, I usually decline all of them, except for this girl that you're going to hear from tonight. I don't know how much you know about me, Brittany, but so I started following Brittany. I think it was the year that Lindsay Matway was top coach. She's one of Lindsay Matway's personally sponsored, and she was putting all this amazing content out on YouTube. And you guys have probably heard me say, like, everything I learned to do in this business, I learned from top coaches on YouTube or the National Makeup Call. And Brittany was one of my mentors that taught me how to do things. And I remember when Lindsay got top coach, we were at Summit. Emily, you were there. Emily Fogger was there with me. And all these people were going up to Lindsay and getting pictures with her because she was top coach. And Brittany you were standing there, and I went up to her and I'm like, I just have to tell you, you're amazing, and I've been using all your videos. And you're like, no, girl, you need to film your own. Your team needs to hear from you. Film your own videos and do it. And it's just so crazy now to see that I can give back to you in some way, because I'll be speaking on her team call on Thursday. But just so you guys know, you are hearing from a all-star. I didn't even ask for her stats because I know that she was one of the first coaches to go from basically, were you emerald to elite in 1 year?
Yeah, it was new coach sign up.
Oh my gosh. So new coach to elite in 1 year. And I feel that was, I think you and Megan Ewaldson maybe did it that year.
Yeah.
But that, I feel it had not happened before and doesn't happen since, but it's not impossible. So you kind of were a pioneer and paved the way for people to see what was possible. And then you were top 10 coach. She is now probably your biggest accomplishment is being a mama to your little cub. So I didn't even get your accomplishments or whatever, because I just feel you're so, sometimes it boils down to this list of things, and you're so much more than your accomplishments. But I just want to say thank you for you helped me train my team. And I didn't tell you, but we team up. I team up with Tanya Barron. I don't think I told you this, right? Lori Stewart, Leticia, and then Emily's team. We all kind of team up on the same call. So you have a bunch of teams on here tonight. But I'm so excited for you guys to hear from Brittany, because she was really instrumental in my growth as a new coach.
That's so awesome. Ashley, thanks for the intro. That is so sweet. I did learn a little something about just kind of our relationship. In coaching, you guys all have these relationships where you are friends with people, but you haven't really had a typical friend conversation with them, but you get to know their lifestyle. And that's how I felt about Ashley over the last couple years. And so like Ashley said, I just reached out and I said, hey, do you want to swap calls? We've never done anything, but we have this sort of mutual, cheering for each other, rooting for one another on the sidelines. And so I just thought, hey, why not? You guys are doing such incredible things. So congratulations to all of you. Ashley, all of your PS coaches, your team family, all the other team families that are on this call. I know all of that is contributing to your team family success. So first of all, congratulations. I'm super excited to be on here. For those of you who I don't know yet, or maybe you're newer or whatever, my name is Brittany Legette Chamard, and I've been a coach since January 2013. So that's about 5.5 years or so for me. And it's been such a fun journey. I mean, like every other coach, I've had a lot of seasons in my business where I'm like, what am I doing? How do I dig myself out of this hole? And also these mountaintop experiences of I cannot believe this is a real thing that we get to do this. So it's been this journey, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. So, tonight I'm going to talk about something that I think is a little bit, it's just not talked about enough, in my opinion. And so I'm going to sort of key this up and tee this up for you guys. But what I want to leave you with is a night of encouragement. I want you, because I know that you have the resources. People in this business do not fall short of their goals because of a lack of resources. In my opinion, coaches fall short of their goals because of a lack of tenacity or relentlessness. essentially in this business, being willing to be steadfast through the journey, right? Because there's going to be seasons of your business that are just incredible. Every day you wake up, you cannot wait to check into your office. You cannot wait to check into your inbox and your challenge groups. And there may be other seasons of your life where you almost cringe checking into your Coach Online office, or you almost cringe checking into what seems like a dead challenge group or whatever. There's going to be those seasons, right? But I believe Beachbody Blue through and through. And I believe so wholeheartedly that this business is brilliant. It is a godsend. And I think the work that needs to be done on our end is learning about how to be effective on social media, is learning leadership sort of details and leadership strategies. But I also think there's a lot of inside work that has to be done, and being willing to stay the course and being committed to your journey. Okay, so I have slides because that keeps me on point. Otherwise, I'll talk all night. So I'm going to share some slides if that's okay with you. I don't really feel like I need to go into any other intro. I guess I'll share a little bit. Ashley kind of talked about everything. So I'm a 15-star diamond coach. I've got 3 business centers. We were a sign up in January 2013. I was like the first coach on my team. And then we became an elite team that year, 5-star elite team. The next year we did top 10 and 15-star, and then Million Club after that. And then I went through IVF, infertility treatments. Beachbody allowed me to pay cash for my $18,000 test tube baby. Praise the Lord. I would have paid 7 times as much for him. And then pregnancy and newborn life. And then now I'm here. He's about 16 months old, and we're just learning as we go. My husband is a full-time member of the military, and he's getting ready to retire in like 25 days. So early retirement. So he has served in the Navy for 11 years, and it's really exciting. We just bought our home back home in Florida. So it's just, chaos per the usual. It's just a lot going on, and it's very exciting, and I'm very grateful. So thank you very much. So that's us in a nutshell. My introduction to Beachbody, I always like to kind of share this before I get into these slides. So I became a coach sort of by accident, I guess is the way you say that. I had P90X at home. I bought it as a customer from an infomercial like a few years prior. And so that must have been like 2010, 2009, something like that. And I just never finished it. I would start it and then I would stop it, and I would start it when I would stop. I did that 2 times. Hey, all you military spouses, that's fun. It's incredibly challenging. So my heart goes out to you guys too. There's some tenacity there for you. You guys know a lot about resiliency. So I was a customer, P90X. I attempted it twice. I failed twice, meaning I just quit. I was really annoyed with myself. When we got married, Lauren and I got married, we moved to San Diego because that's where his SEAL training was. And so I was waiting for my nursing license to transfer over to San Diego. And I thought to myself, I have got to do P90X. It's killing me that I have it and that I quit 2 times. It just really bothers me that I quit and that I just didn't finish what I started. Not to mention I was kind of uprooted from my community in Florida. I wasn't around my friends anymore to go to spin class or boot camps that I enjoyed. And we were on a really tight budget because I wasn't working. So that was my motivation for putting P90X in the DVD player for the 3rd time. And a week into my P90X journey, I was on social media. I was on Facebook, and my wedding photographers posted a picture of a bride and groom, and just a recent picture that they had taken of a bride and groom client of theirs. And so I went to the picture, honestly, to compliment my photographer friend what a great picture it was. And then I landed on the bride's page, and she had a recent P90X transformation. So I was 1 week into my 3rd attempt of P90X. The 1 week mark is like Kempo rolls around and you're ready to quit. And I saw her transformation and I thought, man, that's really encouraging. She had a very different story than mine, bartender, new mom, nothing at all related to me in terms of her lifestyle. Or her season of life, but the P90X is what connected us. And so I was on my 3rd attempt. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, I just saw Corey Nabby's picture of you guys. Congratulations. Beautiful picture. I'm actually in the 1st week. I'm finishing the 1st week of my 3rd attempt at P90X. I just wanted to tell you that it was really encouraging to see your results. It really has helped me. And I didn't know she was a coach. I didn't know coaching was a thing, but she was a coach. That's my coach, my friend Lindsay Matway. And she invited me to a challenge group. And then Shakeology came in, and then the rest is pretty much history. A week into my challenge group, I was, basically 2 weeks into my program. I was seeing results. I was sticking to it. I wanted to be a coach because I wanted the military discount. I knew I could sign up for free. I wanted to save some money on my Shakeology because we were basically a one income family at that point. And I also wanted to have that accountability. I thought if one person knew I was a coach, then I wouldn't quit it for the third time, right? I was determined not to quit. That was more important to me than the physical results. Even though I had the 15 pounds of newlywed weight or whatever for me to lose, it was more important to me to just finish it because I'd quit it 2 other times. Okay, so that's my intro. And then I pretty much took it and run, saw the potential there. And that's kind of how I got started on this whole journey 5.5 years later. Okay, so what I call this is the big picture mindset. I really do think it's a mindset. I really do think it's a decision. And this is what I tell specifically my diamond and above leaders all the time. I do have conversations with people that are emeralds and working towards just building strong foundational businesses, but this comes up a lot with my diamond leaders. And I always tell them, look, because a lot of times what can happen with coaches is they'll compare their businesses to their uplines, or they will compare their businesses to their success partners, right? And so my story is a little different now. My pace in terms of the business has definitely slowed down, but in the beginning, our pace was fast and sort of uphill hustle mode all the time. And I'm so proud of that, and I would do it all over again. But that was a little difficult relationally with some of my coaches sometimes the first couple years. We were, I represented a 5-star elite team within 12 months. I represented a top 10 team within 2 years. I represented earning $1 million within 3 years. And so my coaches were like, well, I'm not that fast, so I'm not that good. Or I'm not able to give that many hours, towards my business right now. So I must not be as capable. So that's where this whole thing came about. So I've been very passionate about this for years now. And I tell my diamond leaders, it's not about how fast you are. It's about how steadfast you are. And so just remember that. Cool. If you want to dart out of the gates and you want to build a strong foundational business because you want to change your family's life faster and you have the time to do so in terms of your day you have, because this business takes time, right? It takes time to build a business and to learn and to invite and to connect and to whatever. So if you've got the time and you want to dart out of the gate, then do it. But if that just doesn't match your season of life right now, maybe you have young kids, or maybe you still work full time, or the slew of other things that could be on your plate right now. Do not minimize your potential just because your pace might not match somebody that you look up to, or that somebody that's gone before you. It's more important for you to be steadfast than it is for you to be fast. So this is the big picture mindset. Okay, so something that's important is if you're treating your business like your current paycheck, it won't grow to much more. And so I just snapped a couple paychecks. The top one was my first one, and then the bottom one was a recent one. And so you might not even be financially motivated, and that's okay. If that's you, then just hang out for this slide, and then we'll talk about some more in a second. Now, of course, the disclaimer, nobody's going to just hand you a bunch of money by signing up to be a coach. You have to earn it. You have to build it. The level of support you offer your customers and your challengers and your coaches are what's going to eventually build to a significant income. It takes work. But if all we do is act like the $90 paycheck or the $14 team cycle bonus that we're earning, if we treat our business that way, it's never going to turn into a 4 or 5 figure paycheck. And so it's very important that your mindset is beyond the $40 investment that you made to become a coach. And I know this is so easy to put off, and it's even sort of cheesy in a lot of people's mindsets, because it's okay, well, great. I'm supposed to be thinking I'm earning, this giant paycheck that would do a lot for my family, but it's hard to get there. It just takes practice. So you do have to have this investment mindset where you're thinking about the paycheck that you want to have, and you're acting as if you are earning that kind of paycheck. And so you need to be studying the people, and no, not everybody wears their paychecks on their social media or on their Instagrams, but you need to be looking at the people who have gone ahead of you in terms of this business and saying, okay, I know she has built a lot of success, or this team has he or she is a really great leader. And you need to be studying that person in terms of their habits, in terms of how they show up. I'm sure you have so many solid, stellar, consistent leaders within this team family. And so success leaves clues. We all know that saying. And it's very, very, very important that you get beyond the $40 that we invest to become a coach so that it will turn into much more. Something that's really important to me, Ashley talked about like a mentor from afar. That has been the case for me for many years as well, with not only with coaches in the network that I've really admired or that I've gained a lot of knowledge from, mostly by observing them. But John Maxwell has always been this for me as well. John Maxwell, for some reason, it's kind of like a pastor. I don't know if some of you go to church, but there are some pastors whose teaching style you just really connect with, like the way that they teach, the way that they talk. And he could also be like a teacher or professor from school. That's John Maxwell for me. The way he delivers a message, the way he explains things, it's just easy for me to connect with. So he's been a mentor of mine for a long time. And this is something that I created in 2014 when I just was in just mission mindset. I had this mission and this vision, and I had to surround myself with reminders of this mission all the time. So this is a quick graphic I made in PicMonkey, 4 years ago, and it's all about growth. And I put this in my team's name is Dynasty United. I put this in my team Facebook page to remind not only myself, but also my teammates of the vision for our team. And I'll just read it to you really quickly. Growth thrives in the right environment. So that means for me, I want my team Facebook page to be one where others are ahead of me in some way. And this is not just for me, this is for everybody. I want everyone to think, okay, it's good for other people to be ahead of me on the Success Club leaderboard, on the transformation sort of scale, whatever. Number 2, where I'm continually challenged. Number 3, where the focus is forward. Number 4, where the atmosphere is encouraging and affirming. Number 5, where you are out of your comfort zone, but also in your gift or your strength zone. That's something that John Maxwell teaches on a lot if you're familiar with that. Number 6, where you wake up excited. Number 7, where failure is not the enemy. Number 8, where others are growing. Number 9, where people desire change. And number 10, where growth is modeled for you. And so this was really important to me because I learned early on that although 5-star elite in the first year of business was incredibly rewarding, it was so fulfilling and very fun. Beyond that January announcement of elite and whatever, we were just kind of in my house on my laptop back to doing the regular stuff. And so if the only way I found fulfillment and excitement was my name on a national wake-up call or at Summit at a really fun, fancy recognition party, although that's fun, it wouldn't sustain me the whole year, right? It wouldn't sustain me on the other months or on the other days. And another thing that's really important is we're getting ready to all go to Summit, and I hope you gain such inspiration from Summit. I hope Summit is a catalyst for you that shows you what is possible for you as well. I hope you see those people that are recognized on stage, these new 15-star diamonds, these top 10 coaches, these whatever million members. I hope you see that, and I hope you say, that person is just like me. That means I could probably do it too. That means I have the opportunity to do that as well. The thing that you don't see at Summit, we see everybody on stage, or maybe you're going to see people presenting at the workshops. You see them on stage, but you don't see the work that goes in to the accomplishments that they're being recognized for. And so we have to remember that. So that's what this list of 10 things reminded me of, that although 5-star elite was really, really rewarding and it was so fun and it was really a blessing to be a part of with my team, it didn't carry me the whole year. And so I needed to figure out other ways to find fulfillment and measure growth beyond rank and beyond income. This is what I used to create that steadfast vision. Okay, so what did I do exactly? So this is a question that I get a lot. I think a lot of coaches like concrete to-do lists, and a lot of, especially newer coaches that are just trying to gain familiarity with this business structure, with the habits, with the vital behaviors. We all want to know, like, okay, but what are you doing though? Like, what is it that you're doing that's helping you or that's creating that kind of momentum? And this is exactly what I did. Like, again, John Maxwell talks all about these laws, and one of his laws is the law of sacrifice. And I think this is the most important, but the least sexy tip. I mean, this is like the most important piece. And I used to sugarcoat or minimize the work ethic that I brought to my business my first 2 years as a coach, because I thought if I was honest about how many hours I worked, people would think I was crazy, or they would think I was obsessed, or they wouldn't join me because it would look too hard, or it wouldn't look like it was worth it enough. And then I realized, as I was minimizing the work that it took for me to do what I did in the first few years of my business, I was attracting these people that expected these quick results without a lot of work. And so in turn, it was more work on me, because I was having to then re-explain to them that this does take work and this is a legitimate business. You guys get the point. So I began being very truthful and very honest and very, very transparent about the work that was involved in my particular business in that season. And so for me, it was no TV, not at all, never, ever, no TV. I didn't watch any TV. I built my business. I worked my business. The exception to that would be if my husband wanted to see a movie for date night. That was literally the only screen that I watched other than on my computer, YouTube videos, carving out time to learn. Some people might think I'm crazy for that, but that's the truth. That is the absolute truth. No TV ever. And now I do, but it was a season of growth. And I'm gonna tell you about that in a couple slides. It was a season of hustle for me, to basically build this thing from the ground up and to get it off the ground. I realized that it was my responsibility to grow. I realized that although I did have the number one coach in the network at the time, it wasn't her responsibility to build my business. It wasn't her responsibility to place people on my weak leg or whatever. People get so obsessed with that, or place people on my strong leg. I built both my legs. And you know what? It gave me practice to then do it again for my second CVC and then to do it again for my third CVC. I realized early on that it was my responsibility to grow not only my business, but myself, to become a leader, and nobody else can do it for you. This is something that you hear a lot, but this is something that I just learned, and I accepted that the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. There will be some exceptions to that, but usually the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack, meaning let's just put some concrete numbers here. Let's just say if you're a coach who's earning Success Club 10, your coaches are probably going to earn Success Club 4, 5, or 8. They're probably not going to do much more than that. If you're a coach that's earning Success Club 37, your coaches will probably earn Success Club 10, Success Club 20. We go first as the leader. And again, there are some outliers, and those are always welcome and celebrated, and it's amazing when that happens. But as a general rule of thumb, the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. So you have to be willing to go first. And that means you have to be willing to fail first. And so that was something that I had to just swallow my pride and just work towards progress and accept that it wasn't going to be perfect. And that, remember, John Maxwell teaches that failure is not the enemy. Accept all responsibility. So again, this is for the good and the bad. When you do something and it's great, then great. Accept responsibility and do that again and figure out how to duplicate that sort of successful thing that you did. And then also when it bombs, also accept responsibility. Or when you don't hit a monthly goal, or you fall out of qualification for a Star Diamond rank, or whatever the case may be, or you don't hit your Success Club goal like you wanted to, there has to be that acceptance of responsibility for your own business. Finding versus becoming. I found in the 2013-14 era of coaching, and even 15, there was the customer avatar was the biggest thing that anybody ever talked about, identifying your target customer, identifying your ideal customer avatar. And so it's always about what are the attributes of, and this is still talked about and it's still really good advice. It just was a little intense. It was all we ever talked about for a while. It was all about what are the 10 best attributes of your ideal coach, and it was, someone that's independent, they're loyal, they're team oriented, they're dedicated, they've got great work ethic. You list all these attributes of the ideal coach that you want to find. And that's supposed to help you then find that person and keep your mind focused on the attributes of the perfect coach, right? That's going to join your team. But what I found was there was so much emphasis on finding that right coach, finding that perfect coach. I really feel like we have to focus more on becoming that coach, becoming that ideal coach. Because when we are the team-oriented, strong work ethic, independent coach, the list of attributes that we would love in a coach, when we become that, that's what we attract. And so it's not so much about finding the right person. It's more about becoming the right person and sharing that journey. And again, that's an internal job. That's a personal job that nobody's going to know if you show up for, if you don't show up for on a day-to-day basis. So that's that personal responsibility that comes in again. Visualizing daily. So this is a habit that I created in the almost very beginning of my journey as a coach. You guys may have heard this story before. I've actually shared it quite a few times because it was that critical for my beginning journey. So in I guess it was 2014, we have corporate mentors. Well, back then they were kind of reaching out to like new Star Diamond coaches for one-on-one mentorship. So somebody reached out to me from Beachbody because I became a Star Diamond actually it was 2013. Doesn't really matter. His name was Kobe, and he was wonderful, and he taught me a lot, and we really honed in on this visualizing thing. And so he helped me develop this practice. It was almost like a ritual. Every single morning, I was living in San Diego in a one-bedroom apartment with my Rottweiler and my IKEA furniture, and I would do my I would move my coffee table to the side. I would do my P90X workout, and then right afterwards, I would grab my Recover, which was like the P90X formula at the time, the orange recovery shake. I would go over to my tiny little balcony, and I would visualize every single day after my P90X workout with my recovery shake. And visualizing to me, I have a lot of YouTube videos on it, and I think I've talked about it at Summit before, but visualizing for me was all about taking like 10 minutes every day before I open my email, before I open my text messages, before I open my Facebook pages. And I just focused exactly on what I was wanting to become. And so I won't go into too much about this because I have a whole training on it, but essentially what I did was I had 3 to 4 key statements, and those statements were all about, as a coach, I feel, and I listed out all these feelings, like I feel responsible, I feel loved, I feel fulfilled, I feel accomplished, I feel at peace, because I am contributing to my family financially before we start a family. That was one of them. And there was one about helping young families and military wives. There was one about my own health and fitness journey. And it was these positive affirmation statements that I would say to myself every single day. They were scripted, so I read the same thing to myself every day for 10 minutes. And it got my mind right. I was earning like $14 a week at that point. I wasn't contributing much financially to my family before we started a family. But I was, in my mind, I was ahead. I was already there. And so that was what I was visualizing every single day. And that primed my mind to then take the action that I needed to take to have that mindset of somebody who was accomplishing those things. So when I opened my inbox or I opened my challenge group and somebody said something weird, or my challengers didn't show up, or I had a return, or whatever, it didn't throw me off because my mind was right from the beginning. And so I was equipped and ready to handle it. And I wasn't just reacting to all these things flying my way. Visualizing daily was so crucial, so key. And I think it was a pivotal piece of me building success from the beginning. Offer excellent support. What I did is I offered excellent support. And in the beginning, and even now in a lot of ways, but especially in the beginning, that takes a lot of work because you are learning how to be a leader. You are learning how to lead a team. You are learning how to use technology to lead a team effectively. You also have your group of customers and challengers, and it's up to you to offer excellent support. When you offer excellent support, you build that trust, you build that camaraderie, you build that consistency that then develops your credibility. And then work ethic. So for me, that was really important. I worked 7 days a week, every week, usually 8 to 10 hours a day, almost every day, and maybe more than that in some seasons of hustle. And again, I would do it all over again because I loved it. It fit the season of life that I was in. My husband was often either deployed or out of town. I had no kids at home. And so it worked, and it was wonderful, and it served me in a lot of ways. And so I don't think that you have to work 60, 70 hours a week to do what I did on paper. I don't. I think that many people are much more effective and productive than I was in that time. I'm just saying, for me, that's what I did. I showed up every day, and it wasn't always the same, but I showed up and I learned, and I learned from my mistakes, most importantly. Okay. So, don't stop believing. So I hope that you've heard about, the compound effect and the big analogy that he uses in there. Again, this was this is a book I still recommend to all of my coaches, but this was a book that was really recommended in like 2014 and 15. It was one of the like popular ones. But without belief, you're absolutely dead in the water. Without belief, you will not last because we're human and because it's just hard. You know, emotionally, this business can be tough if you're not prepared for the ups and downs. So you have to build that belief in yourself. You have to believe in your company, and you have to believe in your ability. So this was a picture from our top 10 trip. And so this is what it always reminds me of, because I had a lot of, I just had a lot of doubts about what I could do or could not do. And, you know, as an introvert, as like a shy person, as someone who feels pretty awkward socially, you know, whatever, somebody who knew nobody in my local town, you know, as a new military wife, I felt very insecure about whether or not I could do this or I couldn't do this. Also someone that wasn't really that into fitness at the time. I was just kind of doing it to stay healthy and to sort of stay comfortable in my own skin. So my strength, though, is that I'm not wishy-washy and that I pump the well. And so that's the analogy or the sort of reference from the compound effect. And I'll walk you through it really quickly. So those of you who know it, it's going to be redundant, but you'll still love it because everybody loves the pump the well analogy. So when you're pumping a well, you guys can imagine it. It's just imagine this farmland. Just imagine it's in a field. Just imagine it's pretty rusty and you're pumping this well, right? And you're sweating bullets. It's humid and you're working really hard to pump this well and nothing's coming out. Right? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm working so hard. There's no water coming out. This really sucks. You know, you're just giving all your energy towards this pump. And there's this group of people that are like, this is terrible. This is a waste of time. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm sweating. I'm tired. There's no water even coming out, and they quit. Okay. But then there's a small group of people that decides to continue to pump the well because they're like, okay, it's a well. I know how this is supposed to work. I'm just going to trust the process and I'm going to keep pumping the well. And so they continue to pump the well. Their biceps are cramping. They're like, literally bugs are flying in their eyes. They're like, this is terrible, but I'm going to keep pumping the well. This is hard. I'm having to get out of my comfort zone. And then eventually a couple drops of water start to drip out of the well, right? So a couple drops of water start to drip. And there's a group of people that are like, man, I've been working all this time. I've worked so hard and all I've gotten is a couple drops of water. I'm going to quit. Right? And then there is still that small group of people that got the drops of water and they're like, okay, let's see what else I can get out of this well. Let's keep going. So they keep going, right? They keep pumping, they keep pumping, they keep pumping. And before they know it, the well just starts exploding with water. Their pumping was effective. Their efforts are paying off. They're being paid for the efforts that they've put into this action. And finally, there's a surplus. So it's like the water continues to pump out of the well and you cannot stop it at this point. It is all you have to do to maintain the flow is to pump every so often instead of pumping so hard. So it's like pump, pump, instead of pump, 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 right? So the water is gushing out and these people are rewarded for their efforts. That is this business. That is the best picture of this business. In the beginning, you will feel frustrated. You will feel tired. You will feel like it's not worth it because you're putting so much energy into it and you're receiving a $20 paycheck or a $70 paycheck or even a $100 paycheck. And maybe you don't feel like that was worth it. This is the thing. You have to have that belief that this process works because you've seen so many people like break the code or crack the code, right? You've seen so many people do it. And so you have to have that belief that this works and that you have to believe in yourself. But the thing is, when you just quit, you never give yourself a chance. When you don't have that longevity mindset and you just are looking for an instant gratification, you cannot succeed that way in this business. Another analogy that I use a lot is a track or a trolley. And I always tell my coaches, like, you have to get on the track. You have to stay on the track. The track is the team. You have to stay connected to your team. You have to stay plugged in because that's how you go somewhere. That's how the train will take you to where you want to go if you're connected to the track. When you're not connected to the track, you're just like a seesaw and you just go up and down, and you don't go anywhere. There's no forward motion ever gained. And so you have to create this belief in yourself and in the business. And when you're first starting, that could be you're a week old or that could be you're a year old. It just sort of depends on, your mindset. But when you're first starting and you don't quite have that belief yet, my best advice is just to borrow your uplines. That's supposed to say upline. Borrow your upline's belief. Borrow, maybe you have a coach crush, or maybe you have a success partner that's really strong in this area. You just have to simply borrow their belief because you trust them, because you can relate to them, and they're going, and you just have to borrow that belief. You will eventually build your own belief. It just takes some time. But the belief is so important. So if you're recognizing to like you're maybe recognizing that you don't have this strong belief in yourself, or you don't have this strong belief in the business that you're in, that has to get your attention, because that's something you've got to work on. I promise you, belief will carry you far in this business. Oh, look at that. Okay. So, your belief paves the road for your vision. Okay. So here's where it gets a little personal, right? So your belief paves the road for your vision. And so you can have this vision, right? But if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to get very far, right? You're not going to have the tenacity or the resiliency to continue on the road towards your vision if you don't have the belief when you go through the hard times, or you go through the challenging times or the obstacles. My opinion is your idea of success, or it can't be rank alone. It can't, because like I kind of shared with you before, like the 5-star or the diamond recognition is going to be really awesome, and it's going to be so special, and it's so earned, but it doesn't last you 365 days, right? It doesn't last you, and 2-star doesn't, and 5-star doesn't, and 15-star doesn't. And so what happens when you reach 15-star and then you hit it again, which is also the most incredible thing ever, but still it can't be rank alone. It can't. There's got to be business goals and personal growth goals and fitness goals. There's got to be goal buckets, right? You've got to have more than just your name on a national wake-up call, or your name on the back of one of those millionaire club chairs at Summit, or whatever it is. There has to be more than just rank. And I am such a fan of rank goals. I think rank goals are so important. I think rank goals are important. I think volume goals are important. I think success club goals are important. I think the whole thing is important, and it all contributes together to your success. But there are going to be seasons of your business that are not straight out hustle seasons, that you're not crushing every, rank goal that there is, that you're not in every test group that they ever offer. There's going to be the in-between times. And so that's why it's really important for you to define your success. You will have your moments to shine. And I hope you've got a tribe that makes it so special for you, or that you yourself will be just so proud of you and your team's accomplishment, that moment that you have to shine with them is incredibly rewarding, and it carries you for a long time. But your work ethic and seasons of hustle, they will pay off. But what happens when you're in your season of life where you aren't on top of the leaderboards? Do you just quit? What happens when you miss the top 10 goal in the last 3 days of the year, like I have in the past? Do you just give up, or turn it, just say that's not important to you anymore? I mean, success has to be deeper and more diverse. Also, seasons of life, you guys, we've talked about this before, the picture above, like maybe pregnancy or maybe newborn life. Maybe you are not able to give the exact amount of time and energy that you have in the past, or that you will in the future. It's okay. It's okay for you to have seasons. The most important thing is for you to remember the steadfast longevity. That mindset for the long haul is the most important thing that will contribute to your long-term sustainable success. So I'm almost done here. So seasons of growth. I believe there are seasons in our business. Like I've said before, seasons of hustle, seasons of growth. And there are seasons where you just simply have to keep your head down, do the work, and trust the process, and know that it will pay off. But for me, my season, the one that I want to talk to you about right now is this getting off the ground season. For me, that's like new coach land, right? That's like that new coach life. It takes some hustle because everything is new. Most of us are working on our fitness journey at the same time. And so there's that component. Like we can't just, like take a break at Chick-fil-A and like watch a bunch of YouTube videos. Like we have to be on point with our nutrition. We have to be showing up for our workouts, carve out that time for personal development, because our college roommate says this thing is a scam. You know, there's all these things that you're sort of like up against as a newer coach, and you have to get this thing off the ground. So it's going to be a season of hustle. It's going to be a season of growth. Now, you may not have 40 hours a week to give to this business. You might have 10, and that is okay. You do all that you can with those 10 hours that you have to contribute to your business. You have to identify, number one, what is your first goal? What's the most important thing to you? Is it Success Club? Is it helping your first person? Is it earning enough to pay for your Shakeology or maybe your student loan? Is your first goal Emerald? Is your first goal Diamond? I mean, don't let anybody dictate what is normal for you. Just decide what is your first goal. And then accept that this is work. Remember my story before. Don't waste your time trying to downplay the work that you put into your business. Maybe somebody has minimized what you do as a coach and that's made you feel insecure. But don't let that happen. Be proud of the work that you put into your business and accept that this is work. And so just know that you are going to be putting your energy and time into a legitimate business. That's going to take some work, right? Accept that your time to shine will come and it will also go. And that's good. And that's normal. That allows you to be so happy about your moment to shine and also so happy for the next person's moment to shine, because you know that it sort of rotates and it sort of is like popcorn. Maybe your neighbor will pop up as a 7-star tomorrow and you're like, what just happened? I didn't even know she was a diamond coach, you know? And then it's like, well, why am I not a 7-star coach? Why am I not, hitting 32 successful points a month? If you just focus on your goal, focus on your season of growth, you will be able to be happy for that next person and know that your moment will also come if you continue to work. You continue to stay connected to your mission and just learn to enjoy the journey. That is a big part of this. I remember, you guys probably know this, but like for top 10, when you hit top 10, somebody from corporate usually calls you to congratulate you. And so that was really special. My year is top 10, many years ago now. But then the next year was the year that my team was top 10 all year until the last 3 days of the year. And then we finished number 11, which I'm insanely proud of now. But in retrospect, it was a really tough season. It was a really tough part of my journey. So I also got a call from corporate being the number 11 coach, and it was Jeff Hill, who's someone that probably all of us adore and respect very much. And he just shared a lot with me, and he helped me a lot through that journey. But he just always reminded me, he said the same thing to me when I made top 10 that he did when I didn't make top 10. And he was so right. And it was to enjoy the journey, because the journey is what teaches you the most. And it is so true. And I will never be more proud of all the years that I've had as a Beachbody coach, the ups and the downs, because, man, the journey is everything. And it is so true. It's like what was so devastating to me and my team, because we care a lot, because it's something we worked very hard for, and it was something we were so connected to miss a goal is never easy. But like we said in the beginning, as a leader, you have to go first. And that means sometimes you have to be willing to fail first. And you have to be willing to fall on your face and accept responsibility for what did happen well or right, or what did not happen right. But you always learn from the journey. And I will tell you, I think top 10 is incredible. I think top 10 is an amazing accomplishment. It is so earned. It deserves all the accolades and all the spotlight that we can give to those coaches and those teams. But there's also a lot to learn when you miss a goal. And there's also a lot to teach when you miss a goal. Not only do a lot of people relate to you, because everybody misses a goal, whether they are public about it or not, we all miss goals. Some of us hurt more than others, but we all miss goals. And when you become open about the goals that you do miss, I promise you, your team and the people around you will feel more connected to you. And they'll know that you're human too, and then that's okay. So the world cannot take away your calling. So it will try to take away your confidence. Just remember this. The world cannot take away your calling. And, maybe you do feel like you're called to be a Beachbody coach. Maybe you feel like that's a little dramatic. I'm not sure. But take away the title Beachbody coach, although I'm insanely proud of that. Take that title away and think about the work that you do as a coach, right? Think about the the action that you take every day, the difference that you potentially make in another person's life. Think about that stuff. Think about the action that a Beachbody coach does. I bet you feel like you're called to do that. I bet you feel like that's a calling of yours. And so trust me, the world will try to take that calling away, but they can't. That's in you. That's innate. That's in your heart. There's nothing anybody can do to take that calling away from you. And that's why it tries to take away your confidence. That's why you will get hit with doubt. You will get hit with fear. You will get hit with comparison. But you have to simply be on guard and grow continuously. You know this. It has to be in every team call there ever was in all eternity. You have to be focused on personal development. There's no way around it. You have to, because you will absolutely quit when you don't have belief in yourself. If you're not invested in personal development and you're not growing as a person, eventually you will doubt yourself and you will struggle with negative self-talk because the world's constantly going to be coming at you with different obstacles. So be on guard and grow continuously. Just remember, the world cannot take away your calling. It's going to try to take away your confidence. Okay, last 3 slides. Okay, this one's really quick, but be predictable. So this is simply a reflection of my journey, talking about being steadfast and having the mindset of the long game here. Be predictable, because I think it's on my next slide, but think about the people that you follow. Let's just say Instagram, because that's what everyone's talking about these days. Let's talk about Instagram. So I think about the people that I follow on Instagram that are not Beachbody coaches, and probably most of them, which is kind of interesting, but most of them are like fashion bloggers. I find them to be very interesting. I like to look at the way that they set up pictures. I like the way that they coordinate colors. I'm not really that into fashion, but I still appreciate it. A lot of the people that I follow are fashion bloggers. And what do they post every single day? They post something about fashion every single day. There's something about fashion. It's an outfit. It's a whatever, a pillow cover, whatever. It has something to do with decor or fashion every single day. And they're predictable, and it works for their account. So be predictable in a way that I don't ever teach my team to be Beachbody robots and to post a bunch of Shakeology cups or drop a bunch of Beachbody terms. That isn't really, that's not easy to connect to for the outside person, but being predictable is what develops trust and what allows you to find people who like what you are all about, right? So why would anybody reach out to you if they didn't know what you were committed to? So think about that. Like when you're sharing it, especially newer coaches, when you're, sort of pumping the well and you are on this journey in the beginning and working really hard to create this momentum. If nobody knows what you're doing, why would they ever join you? If nobody ever knows that they can do a virtual fitness challenge with you, or they can join your team of entrepreneurs, or whatever wording you want to brand yourself with, if you never talk about it, if you never model that type of lifestyle, nobody's going to ever trust you or want to commit with you because they don't know that they can. So be predictable in your own way, with your own voice and your own rhythm. Don't be a Beachbody flyer. Don't be somebody that just puts up stock photos. Of course not. But you also can't be so afraid to talk about the thing that we're doing that nobody ever knows what you're doing. Does that make sense, you guys? So find your voice, be predictable, so that when people are ready, they know that they can trust you and they can reach out to you, that you are relatable, that you're reliable. Okay, and then the last slide here. This is about, remember my title of this is the big picture mindset. So the big picture here is that you have, and you may not feel like it right now, but you have the potential to influence a lot of people. You have the potential to make a positive impact on a lot of people. And it might feel small now, or maybe not. Maybe you already have a big, sort of zone of influence before even becoming a coach. My challenge to you is to be the light in whatever way that you can be a light, be a light. And as sort of a quote that I love from just like one of those little graphic, I guess it's like an inspiration book with a lot of quotes. Anyway, it talks about lighting up your 10-foot zone. It talks all about like world changers and sort of the movers and shakers of the world. And really it starts with lighting up your 10-foot zone. And so I think a lot of times for new coaches, it can feel very intimidating to feel this expectation to have the kind of reach that maybe their sponsor has, or their upline has, or other 15-star diamonds have, or whatever. And so it can feel very intimidating because their network hasn't grown that much yet. But really the most important thing is for you to just light up your 10-foot zone. And so that might start with your family, or maybe that starts in your workplace, or maybe that starts with your 2 challengers that you have for June, or maybe that starts with your 1 coach that's willing to show up to team calls with you. Like you identify what your 10-foot zone is, and you be the light to light that 10-foot zone up, because you're amazing, you are capable, and this business is so powerful. It's so powerful. Do not allow your ego. We all have an ego, so I'm not pointing a finger. I'm talking to myself too. Don't allow our ego to deflate the potential that this business has because you're not getting the recognition or the paycheck that you want right in that moment. It takes a mindset shift. It takes a focus. It takes a vision to really sort of build that mission and that vision that you truly have for you and for your family and for your team. You guys can do it. It's simply about staying steadfast. Okay, Ashley, that's all I have. I'm sorry. I know I went a little late. Sorry about that.
Oh my gosh, you do not have to be sorry. This is like, I don't remember the last time I got teary on a call, but I just feel like, we're chasing, like our team is in the running for top 10 and we're currently qualifying for 15-star. And I found myself, it's like, cool, it's amazing. But I find myself sometimes when you go after that recognition piece, you really forget like what you're doing and what we are doing. Like, it is not about the recognition. Like, if I never got recognized for that, it's cool. And really the cooler thing is seeing so many people like advancing their own businesses. But it was so like such great perspective for me to be like, that is not what this business is about. Like, I'm so in the thick of it right now, but it really is about like how much we have the ability to change people's lives. I mean, my life has been changed, your life, immeasurably. There's tons of people on this call, and your lives, guys, all of you on this call, you don't have to have your life having been changed to the level, like you don't have to be full-time with this or anything, or you don't have to be in the Million Club to recognize like what a blessing that this business is for all of us. So I just have to thank you for sharing that with us. And I love, like, I find the mindset stuff, I always say there's the teachers and the preachers, and I love the preacher stuff because like you said, the information's out there. Like, you guys know what to do to be successful, but it's all in your mind. Like, it starts and ends up here. There's nobody who is solid in their mindset that ever quits this, because it's just, it's too good for what it does for your life and what you're able to do with other people. So I can't thank you enough for bringing us this, because we needed it. Do you guys have any questions or anything for her? I'm just seeing a lot of love. I don't see a lot of questions, but I'm just so thankful.
Oh, I'm so glad, you guys. It's so true. It's like, I'm always careful with this topic because, I don't know, I won't talk forever, but I feel like I never want to minimize or undermine the importance of the accomplishments that are ahead of us and are possible, like 15-star and top 10 in elite, two-time 50-star, all these amazing things. They're so important. I really do believe that they are so important, and I'm very motivated by those things. But you just have to remember that there's so many ways to define success in this business. And it's very important that you explore that and that you are thinking about that all the time, because like my experience, if you have your heart set on top 10, or it can be any goal, you guys, you fill in the blank. And then what happens if that doesn't happen? It's like, yes, there is some sort of healing or grieving process when you miss a goal. We're all human, and we all go through that. And I absolutely did. But there has to be more to it. And you have to be able to look within yourself and to define success and your goals in different light too. I think that's just very, very important, because who wants to be in a business where you're always feeling like you're not good enough? right? I mean, who wants to be in a business or really in anything where you feel like you're always never good enough, And so if all we're doing is setting these goals that are really specific on these numbers, I mean, I think that eventually we will all get to those goals eventually, but it could take some time. And so I just think it's important to have other goals as well. Somebody said about personal development. Oh gosh, specifically for military spouses, I don't know about that. I've never really read anything specific to like the military spouse type struggle, but I think what's really important, and again, I have this sort of pet peeve when people speak on behalf of another people group. So I can't speak on behalf of all military spouses, but for me, it's been very important for me to have my own thing. And a lot of times I've found, especially from my friends, like so many traditional military spouses give up a lot of what they pursue for what their spouse is pursuing or committed to. So like, for example, like me moving to San Diego because of Lauren's career, or me, stopping nursing in Florida for Lauren's career. I think it's very important that you establish your own goals and that you establish your own mindset and you figure out what's important to you. And so I can't really name a specific personal development on that, but I think having the guts to goal set is really, really important when you're so used to sort of being okay with putting your goals a little bit aside or a little bit on the delayed timeline or on the back burner because the government decides what has to happen when it has to happen. So that would be my vague advice for that.
Yeah, I think the important thing for any of us, no matter military spouse or not, although people, that whose spouses are deployed, that's amazing how you guys get through that. It takes a special person. But I think for all of us, we all just need to make sure that we're constantly filling up our cups, and we give so much as coaches, and we're constantly pouring into other people that I hear that a lot. Like, what's specific personal development for body positivity? And I'm like, it doesn't, like, you don't need anything super specific, just as long as it makes you feel good when you're reading it.
Yeah.
Like, it just keeps your mind sharp and on point.
Yeah.
But you did reference John Maxwell a lot. So
yeah, I feel like he's a great teacher. I feel like everything I've read of his or listened to, I feel like I've just learned a lot, and he's got an encouraging way about him. So he kind of gives you both. He's like an encourager and a teacher. And, I feel like too, it's, there was one other thing I was going to say when you were talking about that. I think it's really important, and this is also vague, so sorry, but I think for coaches, especially coaches who have been around for a little while, it's really important to me to sort of check my daily coach vibe and my daily habits. And I need to ask myself, am I having fun right now? Like, are the things that I'm doing somehow fun? Now, there are going to be a slew of things that maybe are not that fun. That's like life, right? And business. But you have the ability and the potential and the creativity, the opportunity to have fun doing your business. So make sure that you're setting up your day with something that's fun. And it could be as simple as listening to music while you connect on Instagram. It doesn't have to be this like fancy thing. Or it could be going to brunch once a month with your whole team or your local people, whatever. Like, figure out ways to insert more fun into your business and live your life. And I guarantee that will breathe life into you. And at the end of the day, new blood is new life. And so new people, whether it be new challengers, new followers on Instagram or Facebook, or new coaches, that new connection is what will breathe life into you and will inspire you.
I love it. Thank you so much, Brittany. I appreciate you so much.
Of course.
It really was like listening to you and people like you. I listened to a lot of Lindsay's trainings and your trainings back in 2013 and 2014 when I was kind of getting started in this. And I think it was by listening to successful people and hearing about the struggles and the challenges and knowing that like the dips were going to come. I was going to experience a dip, and I was going to experience several of them, and just knowing like, okay, this is to be expected. What I'm going through right now, this is to be expected. I just have to get through it. I just have to keep going. Like, listening to your, the free content that you put out on YouTube for your team was really invaluable for me. And it's probably part of the reason I'm still a coach. So I just can't thank you enough. And I'm so glad you got to pour some of that into our teams tonight. So thank you. And we will, guys, I'll have this replay up tonight because I know a lot of us are excited to listen to it again. So
thanks for having me, you guys. See you guys later. Bye.